All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today we have a very special video for you. We're gonna show a little bit of the insights on how two professionals get lined up. We have a house shot out here right now. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so this is basically what bowling is can you take what the pattern is giving you and have a correct strategy? And can you keep that correct strategy? Because the strategy changes. So oil moves a bunch, and then what was working at one point is now no longer working. The balls that were working are no longer working. A lot of things change. But in order to stay ahead of it, you gotta know where to start. We have a house shot out, and we're gonna kind of go through on what we do when we throw shots and how we gather what the lane is giving us, and then how we turn into an actual strategy. So
perfect. I think what's important to go through for the audience is you'll hear us, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but you'll hear us use words like there's a lot of friction, we're trying to find the shim. Yes. And I think we need to go into like that as we progress the video. We'll talk about like what those things mean and what we're thinking.
So I mean, first shot out the bag is it doesn't matter what ball really. I always like to try like a really strong ball. This is a phase AI. I just like to see what the outside part of the lane's doing. You know, in order to know what to do, you have to eliminate some things, and you got to figure out what works and what doesn't. And my first couple warm-up shots, I try and figure out like what isn't going to work. So I need to see what the outside part of the lane is doing. So I'm just gonna throw a couple shots out there. Now on most house shots, you're gonna see a lot of hook right there.
Yeah, that's normal.
Really, really normal and typical.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna throw the same ball as Brad. We're just gonna use this ball. You can throw shots out to the right. Since I saw him throw it, I'll stay a little right because I wanna try to test the strategy. So for me, I like throwing shots up the right, not only to like see where the friction is, but it allows me to keep my angles closed at the start. I don't like throwing my first shots of the day like fourth or fifth arrow and trying to hook the whole lane, because a lot of times on the fresh you just need to, it's better to keep a little bit closed angles. So that's why I like to try to stay a little bit to the right, and just as I'm warming up here, seeing what the pattern is doing.
Nice.
Took my hand out. Yeah, almost 5'7".
When you're in this position of trying to figure things out, you use your people around you. Use your opponents, your teammates, whatever the case may be. You're just constantly watching balls go down the lane to decipher what needs to be done.
If you're watching this right now, and you're watching us warm up, we're just getting a feel for the pattern. And the question, I'm sure you're asking is, okay, how do you get lined up on a house shot? Especially on a house shot, it can become difficult for us, and probably a lot of bowlers out there, is there's different options to play. When you get on those sport shots, there's generally one place you need to play or one zone you need to play, and you can tweak that zone, but you either need to play really far out or really far in. Not a whole lot of like discrepancy after that. House shot, man, I could play second arrow, third arrow, fourth arrow, fifth arrow on the fresh and get them all to the pocket. So how do you choose? Well, for me, what I'm looking for is how much really oil is in the middle part of the lane. That's gonna decide like my strategy quite a bit. I will play up 10 and throw it a little harder if there's like a mound of oil in the middle of the lane that my ball will just hold against. So essentially, I feel like I can't miss left because there's so much oil there. And that's what would be going through my mind. So that's where I'm gonna try to play just around 10.
All right, we got some hook.
Got some hook. So as I'm going through, I'm like, man, for me, I might not be able to take enough hand out to play that straight. I'm gonna try a couple shots. I need to move a little further left. Maybe I laid it down and there's a good amount of friction to the right. So my lay down point needs to be a little further left to try to catch some more oil so it scoots down the lane. And if it does it on the next shot, then maybe I'll play there. But if it hooks again like that, then I'm probably gonna have to hook the ball.
Yeah, that was a good point you made about starting right, because it kind of teaches your brain from the get-go what straighter angles feel like. A lot of times, especially when we're bowling league, we bowl in the same shots, we come in, we do the same thing. And so we'll just stand in the same dot. A lot of times that's left, especially now everyone's two-handed, a lot of times it's left. Well, if you're coming in and you're standing on the same dot and you're getting warmed up and you know it's the right one and you're gonna bowl a 700 that day and you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over, well, bowling takes a lot. To be a good bowler, it takes a lot of adjusting. And when you come in and just immediately go with the open angles, if you ever come across a scenario where you need closed angles, well, how are you supposed to do it? You haven't even like really practiced it. So starting out, first couple shots of practice, every time you bowl, you can get some shots in with some closed hips up the lane. Then you can kind of go into the open angles. But teaching yourself both from the get-go really helps you manage transition. And so I started out to the right, hooked, went a little left, it hooked a little less, and now I'm gonna keep going left here. And after I've thrown some shots and Kyle's thrown some shots, I can kind of tell there's already too much hook right there. But we're just kind of going through normal motions.
Yeah, I mean, even when you're on a house shot, the first thing you want to do, I mean, you want to control the pocket. So we're not trying to play somewhere that's going to be hard to hit the pocket. You want to hit the pocket every time. If you're not hitting the pocket every time on a house shot, you're not going to compete against everyone. So that's rule number one. After that, I'm looking for, okay, once I have pocket consistency, how is my ball going through the pins versus like playing straight versus hooking it, maybe in the middle? That's kind of what I'm looking for. What ball am I throwing? Based on that last shot, we laid it down. We were kind of looking at 11. I'm going to move left a little bit with my feet and eyes here, and I'm going to look at 13, and we're going to see if this doesn't just like hold all the way to the pocket. So that was close. I got that ball out a little bit more than I wanted to. So it caught the friction, read a little early, or just caught the friction and jumped high. I'm gonna throw one more shot there. But for me, if I was gonna play that straight angle for me with my hand, I need that one right there to hold its line to the pocket. Because now I'm getting too straight and too left to where I'm gonna have to give it away or else I'm gonna run out of room.
You know, and that's another point too, is you can be lined up. If we're talking about like, how do we actually get lined up? You can be lined up, but if you're uncomfortable, it doesn't matter. So if someone who likes to hook the ball is playing straighter and that's the proper way, but you're uncomfortable, well then it doesn't really matter. So what you're doing right now is you're going through your motions on something that isn't necessarily your A game,
right? But
that's gonna help you stay lined up and like get lined up. Now I'm just gonna move left. We're gonna play the more inside part of the lane.
Wow. Hey, seen that one.
Dang.
And back to like Brad's point, I think that's an interesting thing in bowling that happens a lot, that you always have to weigh between. It's like, do I choose to do something, like if the lanes are kind of calling me to do something, do I choose to do something uncomfortable but play where the lane is kind of telling me to play? Or do I choose more of a way of throwing it that I'm more comfortable with, but the lane isn't necessarily conducive to that style? And you know, it's always kind of like a catch-22. I think it really depends. That's why you just got to get in practice and be versatile. That's why you have to be versatile. Like for me playing straight, it's not necessarily like my A game, but I know on house shots, sometimes if you can keep your angles like super straight, the carry is just so good that I can be a little off and be uncomfortable, but my pocket, when I hit the pocket, I know it's gonna strike. Versus like if I do need to play straight and it's working well, sometimes when I get to places and I try to hook it, I just can't get the 10 out very consistently, especially at the beginning of the day. So that's kind of like, we're always weighing that option. I'm like, I feel a little uncomfortable, but this is where I need to play. So anyway, I am still envisioning, I'm gonna move a couple left, still trying to keep my angles like pretty much in front of me. I'm looking at 14 now. And my idea here is I'm still trying to find oil, keep my ball speed up, try to keep the ball pretty in front of me here and trying to find that oil line that just makes my ball hold all the way to the pocket. That's what I'm thinking here. Yeah, so I would have to, in order to play that, I would need a ball down, which we don't have right now. I would need to probably pick my speed up. That one, again, I shot it too far to the right. But now I know, okay, like if I'm playing there, then our strategy has to involve what is the lane giving us and what is it taking away. There, I know if I get it right at all on a house shot, I'm not hitting the pocket. Right. So I don't want to play there. Right. Like we need to control the pocket. So I'm ruling out playing straight now.
It's kind of interesting because I can play a little bit more inside. Actually, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna get a feel. I've been watching Kyle go through his markers. I just threw one that was really good that I'll probably be close to playing, but remember, the game is always and will always be about transition. The fact that I just threw a shot where I feel like I can get lined up in 3 frames, it might not be there, depending on how much rev rate you have on the pair. While we're still in the process of trying to figure out where to play, I'm gonna go ahead and make a big jump just to kind of see what happens when the ball is more on the inside part of the lane, and maybe I can just get there earlier to stay ahead of transition.
Oh, baby.
Wow. Okay, so what happens when you make a bigger jump in? For all you two-handers out there, the high rev guys, you like doing that. You like just automatically getting left, but it's more important that you do what Kyle is kind of doing right now and sitting there and trying to figure out and be able to weed out, okay, I'm not gonna do that. A lot of us just go in and go straight to our comfort zone, but he's learning a lot more about his game, his feels, by sticking it out over there, trying to figure out before he just makes the automatic jump in. Because he saw my ball hook there, so he automatically knows more rev rate. Okay, if Brad's ball hooking inside. he's just gonna get in there.
Yeah, that would definitely, you know, if say I was bowling and all these shots that I'm trying to play straight was my first like 5 shots of a game, and I see Brad go in there, I'm immediately moving, immediately watching and going, okay, I know I can do that. It might take me a couple shots to adjust, but we'll be all right there. So I'm gonna move my feet, probably 10 left. I think I need to be around like 19 at the arrows, get it out there and see what happens. So now I'm completely readjusting my idea. Before, I was playing to the right. I was trying to like throw it hard. I'm looking for a wall of oil to hold. This house shot doesn't really have that for me. Doesn't have enough oil on it. So now we're changing. Now I'm gonna have to go left, be around 19 or 20 at the arrows, and now I'm hooking the ball. So now I'm trying to get it out to the right and see if I can control the pocket. So a little different idea that's in my head. Trying to play a little more hook now instead of the hold, the shim. So anyway, we're gonna be around 20 at the arrows, see what happens. Yeah. And that was solid. Yeah, that's just solid.
Yep.
It's just solid.
And when oil transitions, it's 95% of the time, the way the oil patterns are laid out, there's a ton of oil in the middle. So when the hook starts hooking a lot, we move into more oil. So the move left for right-handers is the very typical move out there. So when you see your teammate or opponent move in and then it creates a good ball motion, it has plenty of hook, you're watching that. However, if we were to throw some shots where it doesn't hook as much and our shots out to the right at the beginning are sliding more, kind of feels like we should play there. During practice, we're still gonna try the inside part of the lane just to get an idea of what happens in the inside part of the lane, bigger angles, because when transition hits, that's where we go. So even if they were slick and we were gonna start playing out to the right, we're still gonna try some shots in because that's where we're gonna end up. And it's just allowing yourself to be familiar with what the moves are and what the moves are gonna be to stay lined up. So now, you know, I'm inside, we got a pretty good look. We're just gonna see if it's consistent. Or if I'm consistent. Which that wasn't, and I'm right now I've got open angles for almost no reason.
I was gonna say, that was open, bro. I was like, the last one you kind of got out there like that, but you wrapped your hand around it so well that it just screamed off the dry. Let's recap a little bit about my strategy. What have I gone through so far? Well, we tried playing straight and we wanted to throw kind of the high hard one because I know on some house shots, if it'll hold its line to the pocket, straighter angles generally carry so much better. I can throw it harder, I can stay aggressive as long as I keep my speed up. That straight angle up 10 will carry so well. I mean, you guys know some bowling alleys you go to and guys that just throw it up 10 carry unbelievably well. Well, that's what I've seen, so I do that. I have a version of that for my game. So anyway, we tried doing that. There's not enough oil. It's hooking early. If I get it right, it hooks too much. There's too much hook. So now we have to play left. We're completely changing our strategy. We're around 20 at the arrows. And now I'm just trying to see, do I have some consistency here? Do I have some room? Last one was pretty good. Let's see if we can throw another decent one. So I hit that one a little more. Wow. And we got 4. Okay, so that's an important shot right there. Now I know that I gotta be nice with my hand. I didn't just jump left and find like an infinite amount of hold where I can be like super aggressive. This house shot is requiring me to be pretty nice with my hand. Gosh, dang, I mean, I know I hit that one a little more, but geez. Off that, like if I get 4, that's another move left. That's 100% another move left, because even on a house shot, I should be able to find a way to like miss with my hand a little bit. And like we talked about earlier, gotta control the pocket. I don't wanna stand somewhere, especially on a house shot, that if I miss just a little bit, I'm splitting. So I'll move left. Yeah, I just gotta keep going. So that was another like 4 left with my feet, couple with my eyes. I'm now into like 22 or 23, so, but that looked better. And I think now I'm in the more correct zone that I need to play for my game. Now I'm kind of working on like my hand, okay, like how aggressive can I be? What kind of ball roll do I need? What type of release do I need to throw to not only stay in the pocket, but carry? Yeah. And that's what I'll work on now.
Yeah, you know, the oil moves a lot, and if you can see by this video, like how we think about it, every single shot, we're almost expecting to like make a little bit of an adjustment, or at least we're prepared for it. If you've bowled around some higher rev rates, if you're bowling in college right now with all the two-handers, if you're bowling at a regionals, a little higher level, higher rev rates, you know that, I mean, transition happens like this. And if you're not ahead of it, then you're not gonna bowl very good. So almost, I mean, execution and balls and that matters, but we're trying so hard to stay ahead of the moves and just to make sure we're not making a mistake. That's a lot of it. I mean, execution and bowling balls are part of it, but when you bowl a lot and you get better at this stuff. You just get better at hopping around, figuring out where you need to be. Kyle's already moving in left, I'm watching that. So now he's left of me, which is creating some transition left of me. So now I'm paying attention to that as well in terms of staying lined up.
High flush, so you probably still have room to go left a little bit. If you've made it this far in the video, let us know in the comments if you have any questions. Best way for us to like inspire new video ideas and figure out what you guys want to know is to ask us some questions about any of what we're saying. Maybe we said a phrase that doesn't make sense, or you know, whatever you want to know more about, let us know. So last shot, I am just moving left here on this house shot, and I'm into like 22, 23. I kind of don't want to hit it that hard. I'm not trying to be that aggressive with my hand. See what happens. Yeah. Now in my head, you know, we started way right. I've moved left. I know an angle that will control the pocket, and then we talked about my hand. With my hand now, I know there's so much friction out there that I have to be extra smooth, no grab, let it just go, because now I know if I grab it, based on what we're bowling on right now, it's gonna react to that friction so much more.
Right.
And there's already plenty of hook. I don't need to make it hook more.
Yeah, and you know, these are professionals making what the moves that professionals make. Obviously, high rev rates make the lanes transition quicker, makes people move left quicker. This is very automatic to the PBA bowlers and for better bowlers. If you're out there and you're a lower rev rate and kind of feels like you're in deep a little bit when you get past that middle dot, getting a nosebleed a little bit, and you like to stay right, and you see like the lanes are changing and you see us moving left, but this isn't your comfortability. It's still possible to play right and to stay right, except instead of like creating the hand and the rotation and the revs, you got to play a little bit more with speed. So if you're out there and you're not getting your ball to hook and you don't have that option just to crank up your rev rate, well then drop the ball speed way down and just give yourself some hook that way. And then as the lane starts to transition, then you can kind of pick up the ball speed. But a lot of the straight guys have high ball speed. They struggle with the low ball speed. That's the tip I would give is if you're stuck on that right side and you like to play out there, try messing with some really low ball speeds to get the ball to hook when it needs to, and then also have your normal higher ball speed as well. All right, so there you have it. That is how, I guess, two technically professionals would attack a lane. Oil moves every frame almost. You never stop thinking about what you have to do now and in the future.
You know, and every time we bowl in the house shot here at St. Charles Lanes, it's a little trickier than we think it's gonna be. It's not the easiest.
We have to like make some different adjustments. The last one I gave some loft.
I know. We talked about when we were making this video, we're like, all right, we'll just put the house shot out and go through how a pro or how we would attack it. And all of a sudden we're making moves. We're in the 22. We're all the way in. I'm messing with my hand. So anyway, that was good. The goal of that video was to help get some insight on how we're constantly trying to make adjustments to stay lined up on the lane. So let us know in the comments if you liked that video. If you have any questions, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.